Hello, welcome back to Squashwarp Missions. I'm Luke, and today we're going to Duna. We're finally arriving, so we have just barely... Signal strength is at 2%, so we got to be really careful. Let's turn up the thrust limiter while we can. I just realized that I've got my antenna facing in opposite directions, but the spacecraft doesn't care. So we're about to arrive at Duna. This is the probe that we launched before we had upgraded the vehicle assembly building, so that's why it's so small. Let's just warp to our Duna approach. Where is Duna relative to us so we can look at it coming? Is it just ahead of us? I don't see it. It's 8 days away. Let's just warp. Wonder why we can't see it. Are we catching up on it this way? The case of the missing planet. Is it towards the sun? Is that why I can't see it? Well, gosh, maybe we won't arrive at Duna because it doesn't exist in this space-time continuum. Where is Duna? Why can I not see this planet? It's a big planet. I mean, it's smaller than Kerbin, but... And that's it, we lost signal. So we had just enough to tell the probe to increase its throttle, which is good. Where in the blue... Oh, there it is. Okay. Delete on close. All right. We had just enough signal to tell the probe to throttle up, and then after that, we are out of cell phone service. We were just on the edge there. Let's see if we can get some science from Duna. Mystery goo, atmospheric, and temperature. The goo feels right at home here. And keep experiment. And we can't send any of this back, which is unfortunate. We can't add maneuvers. So because we can't add maneuvers, I can't focus on it. Let's focus on Ike. And then let's focus on... there we go. I wanted to focus on Duna. Alright, we're gonna arrive... At least we're gonna arrive on the sunny side. Which means we'll be able to see what we're doing. So we just need to make sure that we capture into an orbit. And I want that orbit to be a bit eccentric, but not so eccentric that we get caught in Ike's sphere of influence. I just want to be in space high and in space low so that we can get both science experiments. I guess we just did in space high, though. So really, we can just capture into a circular orbit. All right, let's just warp here, then. Close that. Here we come. Whoa! It looks like they don't call it time warp for nothing. That felt like we were in a warp-capable spacecraft, but we haven't gotten to that part of the tech tree yet. Look how bright Duna is. That's fantastic. Okay, we're still in space high. All right, let's warp here. I don't think we're going to hit the atmosphere. And then let's just do a normal time acceleration. We got 2 minutes till our periaps. Now we're in space low. We can at least do a mystery goo. Let's keep. We can't do our atmosphere and temperature until we can transmit the other ones away, but we will be able to because we're upgrading the tracking station soon. I'm going to wait until we're 30 seconds from our periaps. Because that's my guess about how long it's going to take to burn. Don't actually know. And I'm going to fly it from map mode so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, throttle up. That's all we can do. We can throttle up and we can throttle down. And we can point prograde or retrograde. And we have to do all our maneuvers that way. We're probably going to get an Ike encounter as we go. We don't want that yet. We want to... Do we want that? Let me think about this for a second. We've got 800 meters per second. Okay. Yeah. Let's capture into this orbit. That should keep us safe from Ike's sphere of influence, but I'm afraid that it won't. That should keep us safe. Yeah, surely Ike's sphere of influence isn't that big. So this is a stable enough orbit, and when the tracking station is built, we can go get this science sent back. But here's Duna. We're over the Midland Sea. Now let's make sure that we are... Oh, I was going to say let's make sure we're pointed so we get solar power, but we can't change our orientation. We have initiated the first flyby of Duna, and we have entered orbit of Duna. World first milestones. Well, that's that. We can't do anything else yet. Let's see what is next on our docket. I built the wrong flyer again, so we're going to fly an aircraft. That's what's next. It's offering me to look for a suitable location for a base on Duna, but we don't have another Duna window for a long time, and that's just going to be sitting in the contract window, so hopefully this doesn't go away, but I don't think I should accept this yet. It will pay me to land on Duna, and I do plan to land on Duna. Landed or splash down? Is there any... I don't think you can splash down on Duna, guys. Alright. We'll accept that contract. Maybe we'll get some extra funds from our lander. Alright, well we built a second version of this wrong flyer just to get a little bit more science, and I think that we should go explore the island runway, because we've not been here. We've not been there yet. So, ready, Jebediah? Let's go. Oh, we can deploy the flaps, because I added flaps. Flaps will help us take off, I think, if I've placed them correctly. Yep. Oop. I don't think this is gonna... Let's turn off the flaps. I think they're... Apparently we don't have a material study from just flying over Kerbin. That's silly. I would like to close the doors, though. Close doors. There we go. That feels more aerodynamic. Look at those palm trees. Alright. Now we're going to make our way over to the island runway. It's about that way. Isn't it? Isn't it, Jeb? Okay, let's time accelerate. Just a quick jaunt. Alright. We don't need all that power. We're going to need to bleed off some more of our speed here. Maybe we'll do a turn. This might bleed off too much of our speed. Alright, one full rotation. And now let's get lined up with the runway. I said let's get lined up. There we go. Gear down. The runway is more black than I remember. I remember it being dirt colored. This looks like pavement. Let's do flaps. Slow us down even more. Yeah, the runway is black for some reason. And there we are, complete landing. Let's turn off these engines. And turn off the flaps and retract the gear, because otherwise when we get out, we're not going to be able to get back in. Can we do any science from here? No. No new science. But we can get out and take a look. I'm going to quick save because I'm about to time accelerate with a Kerbal. And that can result in premature going up in a puff of smoke sometimes. You know, I don't think we need... There we go. So over here are the antique parts. These are from the old version, like before my time old version. There's the original 2 or 3 person command pod. One of the original tanks. And an original engine. Look at that. Oh, we found a monument. We will stand on it. Ooh, we'll float over it. That's fascinating. Alright, and jump. Oops. Oh, that's okay. Stand up, Jeb. And we could climb the control tower, but honestly that takes a long time and it doesn't really accomplish anything. Let's just go back to our aircraft. I'm gonna fly this back, but I don't really know that you need to see me fly this back, so I might cut some of that out because it's not really anything new. This plane has kind of done most of what we need it to. I don't think we can get more science from it. Maybe if we go to the grasslands or something. Anyway, I'll see you in a second. First we need to safely take off. This flies like a dream. Alright, we're gonna try landing in the grasslands again. See if we can get some extra science from here. Do a little bit of an up and down to reduce our speed. And we're coming in nice and gentle. Let's tilt so that we're on the same angle as the ground. And land in this pretty field of flowers. We could get a surface sample. Okay, board. That wasn't much. And apparently we've already done seismic data. Alright, well, carrying on. And coming to the highlands. Last attempt to see if we can get some extra seismic data. There's not really a point to this. I just kind of felt like flying a plane. I haven't flown many planes in this career because I'm waiting for higher tech aircraft. But it means that we haven't really done much. There we go. We got 3 science. That's at least something. And we can take a surface sample. You suspect this isn't going to be much of a groundbreaking discovery. Alright, let's go home. We can make it feel like we're flying really, really fast if we fly in 4 times time acceleration. I'm going down, that's not good. Alright, can we land on the runway from IVA view? If not, I might not show this because this is an unnecessary skill challenge and not worth killing Jebediah over, so if I fail, my pride will be wounded, but I'll reload the quick save. But It's telling me too low gear. Where's my airspeed indicator? That kind of feels important. Airspeed. I can't actually see. I can't actually see what I'm doing. Let's deploy the gear. I need to put on the brakes, and I don't know how to do that in the cockpit, so hang on. Brakes. Okay, we're not lined up with the runway at all. I just hit caps lock. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, this is going terribly. Hang on. Alright, Jeb. You can do it. Get lined up with the runway. We're going down, so this is it. There we go. Whew, just barely. Excuse me? Oh look, there's a plant in here. There's tomatoes. There's crystals and a little fish creature. I've never seen the inside of the materials bay before. There's a space rock and a plant. What a lovingly done modded part. That's amazing. Alright, well anyway, we've arrived. Let's actually recover to the spaceplane hangar and then we can fly whenever we want. Unlike that rocket last time. Oh man. Good times. We earned 20 science. It was not worth it at all, but it was fun. Alright, next we're going to launch a lab module. Okay. On this seems like a cloudy day, but we're going to launch. It's this little squat spacecraft with only one stage and some boosters. Here we go. Our spacecraft is passing overhead. And we're going to get going. So we need a lab. We need a lab module because we want to get that extra money from the optional part of the contract for the Minmus space station. So this is going to go rendezvous with the Dryad transfer vehicle and function as the lab in orbit of Minmus. I cannot get my ascents to work right. Look at that, we annihilated all of our boosters in one fell swoop. I cannot get my ascents correct. Alright, well anyway. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We faced target prograde. That was about to be really weird. We just want to launch into 80 kilometers. What a terrible launch profile. I say that every single launch. One of these times I'm going to get it right. Alright, let's warp. These fairings will automatically deploy. I said these fairings will automatically deploy. Maybe I set them for 70 kilometers this time. Yep, there they go. And this is all it is. It's a lab with a cupola, and that's all we got going on. We can extend our solar panels. And let's warp until our apoapse is quite close. And then let's just burn. Get into a stable orbit. Burned a little too much because I was time accelerating, but that's okay. So let's set up our rendezvous. In fact, let's reduce our orbit. Just to get this correct. Oh gosh. No. Cancel. Stop. Go away. Get me to periapse. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Our periapse and apoapse are closer to each other now. And let's warp to the descending node. I forget which way we want to burn. If this is our descending node, we want to burn normal, I think. We got an alarm going off. Oh, it's the warp to the descending node. Okay. It used to be that when you pressed warp to descending node, you just arrived at the descending node, not 3 minutes before it, but whatever. Gave me time to get pointed the right way. So right now we're correcting our inclination. Except we don't have a lot of torque to turn this vehicle, so I'm overshooting. The descending and ascending nodes are where the plane of our orbit crosses the plane of the target orbit. And we have a little bit of inclination relative to our target, so we're going to correct for that. And there we go, 0.0. And now we can start building maneuvers to transfer out to our target. Let's warp ahead a little bit. There we go. And now we'll add a maneuver here. And that was good. A little less. 5. Oh, this is not. I'm not looking at this right. There we go. Just a short burn in one orbit. So we'll go around once. You can always see Sarnus out there. It's a big red sphere out in the distance. I love that. All right, we're 60 kilometers away from our target. And let's perform this burn in 10 seconds. Oh, 0.0. All right, let's see if we accidentally crash into it. Warp here and face target retrograde. Now we're going to have to deposit our vehicle and then decouple and leave it there, and we'll have to retrieve it with the other vehicle because this lab has no autonomous docking capabilities. Coming in on approach. That's essentially that's really close to stopped. So we'll save that there. We don't really need any of that fuel or anything. We still got a lot of delta V. So we can undock now. Yeah, so the lab has no SAS. The lab needs a Kerbal in order to function. However, this does not. So once we back away a little bit, let's get pointed the other way. Because we do actually have a probe core and batteries on this vehicle. So we're going to point retrograde. It's going to run down our electric charge really fast, though. This is good enough. Just hold here. And now let's switch to Dryad. Control from here. Retract the solar panels and the radiator. And now we need a docking port alignment indicator. And we're trying to set this as target. There we go. Let's get flipped so that I am right side up. That'll help my orientation. Wrong way, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. Come on. There we go. We're going to steal some of this thing's fuel, is what we're doing. It's probably unnecessary, but we'll get a little bit of extra delta V out of it. This is actually a pretty capable docking craft. Alright, let's aim the camera this way so we can see what we're doing. Coming in. We picked up some velocity from that. That was weird. Well, we'll have to go chase that down. Let's do this quickly then. Oh, for Pete's sake, can we not? These KW rocketry fairings do not allow crossfeed, do they? It's the only part I can think of that is not allowing it, because all of these say disable crossfeed. So I think it's the fairings. Well, heck. I need to undock now. Undock. So we can't do anything about that. Alright, well what we can do is turn Well, this thing ran out of electric charge. Shoot. Okay. Well, can't do that. Never mind. Let's go chase down the other one. Control from here. That was a pointless pursuit. Let's turn towards it. What am I doing? I'm gonna rotate this way. What is going on? Why am I just spinning in circles? What? There we go. Just getting all turned around. Okay. All right, we need to back up some. And I always get turned around, which is up and down with this docking port alignment indicator. It's a great mod. I don't know why I'm confused about it. Okay. Gotta quickly respond to this situation. Yeah. Slow down. We've overshot. That's okay. Okay. Wasting a lot of our monopropellant here, but that'll actually make us lighter for our other needs, so that's okay. Let's get rotated correctly. Where is up? I want it to be this way. Yes, and I know we're drifting off course again. Trying to get us oriented correctly. Okay. There we go. Okay. Not the smoothest, but that is all right. Yeesh. All right, we'll save. This is the craft. Now we can deploy the other solar panels and the radiator again. All right, and this is going to be our Minmus space station. So now we just need to send Kerbals up here. Meanwhile, let's see if we can't get this thing deorbited. Is that possible? Do we have any probe control? I mean, we don't have any probe control. Can we still turn on the engines? There's an alternator in the engines, so if we can turn on the engines, we can get power, but we can't turn on the... No, we can't. All right. Well, it's dead in space. Because we lost our electric charge and we didn't build any solar panels in. Wonder what used up the electric charge? Just holding the maneuver node, maybe? holding the attitude. Well, anyway, this will just be space trash. Can't do anything about it. Hopefully it won't come back and crash into us. But that's us. Let's move on to the next thing. The tracking station is about to be complete, so let's watch this finish. It's been under construction for quite some time. Let's see what it looks like when it's done. Boom! Look at those giant dishes. And with that, we can go get some science from our other spacecraft. While our MOHO probe still doesn't have connectivity, I thought that with the level 3 tracking station, I would get the range that I needed, but apparently still not. Let's see what the case is with the Duna probe. The Duna probe has connection! Hooray! We can move it and make sure it's pointed to the solar panels the correct way. That's fantastic. We've discovered an abandoned island airfield on Carbon. Yeah, we did that before. All right. Well, this is great. Okay, let's transmit our science now. I'm going to send 20 science back from the atmospheric pressure. And 10 science back from the goo. Transmit. And 13 science back from the temperature. And we can send our other goo back. The goo likes it here. It's like a second home for the goo. Nice. All right. Well, now we can warp until we're in space low again. Coming in. Oh, whoa. Okay. So I knew about this from the mod, but I've not seen one yet. So if you look at Duna, there's a smudge. Do you see this smudge? Now look what happens when I fast forward. Do you see how it's moving across the surface? That is a dust storm. That is a dust storm the size of a continent. That is so cool. That's from the BlackRock's True Volumetric Clouds, the same thing that gives us the clouds. That is so cool. I think there's another one over here. All right. We're still in space high. Oh, maybe those are just mountains, actually. We're still in space high. Well, actually, let's just turn this on. I think these are useless, yeah. Okay. Coming in. In space low, we can do atmospheric pressure and temperature. Send that science home. And send that science home. Now, it'll tell us that we can do this, but it won't do us any good until we actually have Kerbals to recover it. Well, that's great. One thing else that we can do, though, if we create a maneuver at periaps, and we're careful about our delta V, we can go visit Ike. And if we're very careful, we can get a free return trajectory from Ike. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. All right. I've never said that before in my life. Let's point prograde. And let's do this maneuver, assuming that we don't lose reception for some reason. So we can get temperature and pressure data from Ike now. Ike periaps 8 kilometers. I think we might want it to be a little higher than that. Let's make sure it's like... I think 10 is safe. Let's assume 10 is safe. And let's warp to Sphere of Influence. Well, no, it'll do that annoying thing. Let's warp here. Fortunately, we lost signal by going behind Duna, but I think we got it back. There's Ike. Gathers first scientific data from Duna. Initiate flyby of Ike. Flyby of Mike. All right, let's do our next 2 experiments. You tell yourself that this definitely isn't cold. You'll have to face even colder bodies later. Send that. And the instrument reads 0 as if you were in a vacuum. Let's make sure we're getting solar panels. There we go. Oh, I've never gotten to like explore Duna. This is so silly, but like I've always just quit my careers before I actually get out here, which is so dumb. All right. Well, actually, no, we want that back because we're going to do low altitude science. What's our Duna periaps going to be? Do we need another maneuver? If we add a maneuver at our periaps here, and we burn prograde, we reduce our Duna periaps a bit. Yeah, we can do that. All right, point prograde. Add an alarm for that. That'll help us not miss our close approach. All right. We need to thrust limiter this, though. There we go. Here we go. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Let's just get there. Coming in for an Ike encounter. Oh, wait. We're losing electric charge fast. Why are we losing electric charge? Okay, let's not point that way. Let's make sure we're getting signal. Getting power. Okay, we can point the way we need to later. Ike is very reflective. Look at that. I mean, with these mods it is. And here we go. Okay, coming in right over the mountaintop. This was a very low approach, wasn't it? All right. Atmospheric pressure. Delete on close. Close alarm. It radiates a lot of heat at night. Keep. The atmosphere at mission control is tense. The atmosphere outside is non-existent. What is that? We're only 5 kilometers above the surface. There's giant, like, crystal things. See, this is what's fun about playing with mods that you've never used before, is it blows your mind. There's, like, giant... Those are 4 kilometers away. Those are, like, giant crystal structures. That is so cool. All right. Look at that. I can't wait to land here. Oh, we have reception. Oh, well, wherever Kerbin is, we can still talk to them. I didn't think we'd have that. All right. Let's thrust the limiter back up. Well, that's fantastic. We got in-space low data. We had a nice flyby of Ike. We got to see a little preview of what the surface looks like. We'd make out some details on the surface of Ike. That's fantastic. Let's just get out of Ike's sphere of influence, get away from the shadow, make sure that we are getting... And we're not getting reception, so let's command hibernate and warp so that we're not using power. Because we can't rotate until we get signal back. And I think Ike might be in the way of Kerbin right now. Okay, we got it back. Now we can rotate to face the sun. After this craft, we got enough parts that we could start building enough solar panels that we didn't need to worry about this so much. Alright, leaving Ike's sphere of influence. And now we can just go to the perigee, periapse, and capture into a more permanent orbit of Duna. We can just be a relay satellite now. We just stay in a low orbit of Duna. Actually, if we were going to be a relay satellite, we should be in a high orbit of Duna. And we can just stay like this, and we'll see what we need to be. But this is perfectly adequate for our purposes now. And now we can send back the Ike data that we just received. Review. 28 more science. Look at the light from Duna bouncing off my spacecraft from deferred rendering. It would be Planet Shine, but actually it's deferred rendering now. Review data and transmit. Oh, it's so beautiful. This game is so gorgeous. Insane. All right. Great times. All right, let's see what's next. I'll be back with you in a minute. All right, now we're going to launch our Minmus crew. So let's clear this and figure out who's going. So we know Valentina is going to get to go to Minmus because she didn't get to go to the moon. And then we want our best 2 scientists, which is Bob and Berfel. And that's going to be our crew for the Minmus mission. Let's launch. All right, here we go. Full power. Remember that we need to be careful of our low thrust at that particular stage. Oh, look at the new tracking station over there. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I do like these rockets. Using the KW rocketry tank because it has built-in monopropellant. And then the KW rocketry solid rocket boosters. And then the rest of it is stock. Our time to apoapse is decreasing. It's steady, now it's increasing. So that's what happens when you have low thrust. Not very efficient. At least we're still accelerating. Switch it back into surface when it switches to orbit just to keep it pushing upward a bit more. Because we want more time to apoapse, I think. We want at least 45. Right now we have 41. Okay, good. We got at least 45 now. So far, so good. Good job, Valentina. She's flying well. Alright, we're switching back into surface mode to keep pushing our apoapse up. I love looking at... It used to be that the launch escape system didn't work at all, and you had to kind of build your own custom launch escape system. But now it just works as intended. You don't have to design your own. It's amazing. And we're on the Poodle. I like this spacecraft. Looks like it's ready to go jousting. And time accelerating a bit, because this will take some time. Let's go up to 80. Good. And let's lose the launch escape system. Off it goes. Spinning off into the distance. Let's just quick save and do this manually. I think we're going to be fine. Alright, extend antenna, extend solar panels. And thrust. Sneak up on it a bit. Okay, stable orbit. Now, that's our target. Let's actually fix our relative inclination first. So just like last time, we go to the descending node and burn normal. Reducing our relative inclination to 0. And now let's see when we're going to get a good intercept. I used to try really hard to get intercepts like on the first orbit. Nowadays I just don't care. It's basically just as fast to do it this way. Let's get out of my own way. .0. That's looking good. Not N. Map. There we go. And we'll warp around. Trying to step through this docking process relatively quickly because we've done this before. Good. You're all going to Minmus. Are you excited? Burfle's excited. You see him dancing over there? All right, we're coming in at 6 meters per second. It's a little fast. Uh-oh. Prograde. We lost target. I have to eyeball this. Set as target. Okay, we almost hit the solar panels. That was close. Alright, we lost control a little bit at the end because I double-clicked. Alright, let's turn target retrograde and fix this situation. We're going away a little fast. Okay, there we go. Alright, now let's rotate the right way. We managed not to smash the solar panels, that's good. And I gotta remember, we pull it and we push it. Pull it and push it. Alright. And it can be helpful to get into locked camera mode as well, just so that we're looking the same way as the spacecraft is. Coming in placidly. Not much to say. Just patiently coming in for a docking maneuver. I just realized that this spacecraft is actually not going to work because of the fuel crossfeed issues. I wonder if I can go into the save file and make it so that the fairing can enable crossfeed, because that is an issue. Maybe there's a difficulty setting I can change too, but we need this craft to be able to refuel. Otherwise, it's a single-use craft, and I did not design it as a single-use craft. That's silly. So we want to be able to give it fuel, but we can't. I think it's fine for this launch. So I'm just gonna make a named quick save at Dryad. Save. And then let's transfer the crew. Bob, go into there. Burfel, into there. Valentina, why don't you go into the control room? Supplies is full. Do we have any other resources that we need to top off? Maybe monopropellant? See, this we can transfer. It's just the fuel we can't transfer. Okay. Yeah, that's the best we can do. That has some monopropellant as well. All right. The spacecraft can actually detach now and go into a parking orbit. So let's undock. Switch craft. Back away. I think we still have fine control on. Yeah, we had fine control on. All right. Now, how's our delta V on the other craft? It's good, but it's not what I need it to be. I need to be able to go to Minmus and come back and circularize into an orbit at Kerbin. Now, we're not going to have the lab when we come back. But we're going to take about 900 meters per second to get out there. And then we'll have 600 left. So we can return, but I don't want to return via aero braking, aero capture. So we may have to send some kind of support mission. So we should make sure to solve this fuel crossfeed problem soon. Otherwise, we're going to have some issues. That's my story. But we're going to go, trusting that there will be some way to return. Because otherwise we have to wait. And I don't want to wait. I'm ready to go. So, let's go to Minmus. Minmus, set as target. And maneuver. I can't move it a little bit. A little more, maybe. We'll do it. We'll do a correction burn to make it actually work. And maneuver. There we go. Let's actually reduce our burn. And burn later. And our second burn says target. I keep losing my... Okay, I'll come back. Okay, I've created a maneuver node that will get us where we need to go, and then we'll have a correction burn partway there. Let's rotate so we're facing the right way, just for aesthetic purposes. And thankfully, this thing has some pretty good torque. All right, did I set the alarm already? Yeah. Okay. This burn is 1.5 minutes. I'm afraid to time accelerate through it, but I might skip through it for you. Because... it's just... there's nothing much to say, we're just burning. But I'm afraid to time accelerate. So, see you in a second. Pretty sunrise, though. Whoa! There was lightning down there. Do it again. Do it again, Kerbin. Show me lightning. Okay, we did our transfer. We're gonna go get a intercept with Minmus now. Alright, we got a correction burn set up. Let's orient our solar panels and then let's go out there. Okay. There's our correction burn. And let's point... let's point prograde. And see if we can adjust this a little bit more specifically. Maybe with the RCS. So I want to be in a polar orbit of Minmus, so that we can do some polar experiments. Oh yeah, this is perfect. That's close enough to 90 degrees. Let's call that good. Alright. Sphere of influence. It's going to take us 4 days. I didn't check our life support. We need to actually increase... we need to turn on our habitat. Start habitat. There we go. Now we have 152 days of habitability. Which is good, because we might be stranded out there if my fuel situation doesn't improve. I just realized that we're on a slight angle. We didn't quite dock right. It's going to drive me nuts. Well, we can get a crew report in space over Minmus. Let's send that back. And can we get an EVA report? Only if we transfer. Because we are now in space near Minmus. Let's transfer crew. Bob. Transfer Bob. Here. Bob, let's EVA. Oops, he's on this side. That's fine. Take an EVA report. It looks so small yet so delicious. Alright. Speaking of which, where is Minmus? I can never find Minmus. That's okay, we'll look at the map. Ooh, there's Jewel And Eve. Jewel and Eve are next to each other right now. That's fascinating. Well, here's Minmus. Anything else nearby? Jewel, Eve, Paul, because Paul is... That's crazy. Paul is so far away from Jewel that you can see the distance between Paul and Jewel. So Paul is the outermost moon of Jewel, and it's all the way over there in degrees. That's crazy. All right, let's get into a polar orbit here. I'm just gonna do this manually because it's Minmus. Sure, we can do a crew report. Let's transmit that for now. And EVA report near Minmus. Keep experiment and board. And let's face orbit retrograde. And let's get closer. We're going down to just under 14 kilometers. Oh, we're going over the pole. All right. Let's burn our engines and capture.
Favorite them?
19 and 13. That's good. So we have that much delta V left. I'm going to do a quick save. We're going to undock and measure the delta V we have with just this vehicle. 500 something. I'm just going to reload the quick save instead of redocking because we don't want to watch that again. That's enough to go home, but it's not enough to circularize at Kerbin when we get home. So we're going to have to send some more fuel out and figure out how to pump it in here. But that will be next time. I don't think we're quite done with this episode, but I have to walk away. So we've arrived in orbit. Do we have any more science we can do? We'll spam science in a second. Okay, thank you. I'm back now. So, I did some file editing. So this thing should be able to do crossfeed now. But I can't confirm if that's the case because I don't have any other fuel tanks on this vehicle to transfer between. So we'll find out later. But in the meantime, we can do some science. Isn't that exciting, Kerbals? They're excited about the science. All right. Let's transfer Berfel Kerman into the lab. And let's do a crew. Well, there it goes. Okay. Let's do... can we do a crew report? Command, control, Valentina Kerman. Valentina, why don't you come into the cupola, actually? And then we should be able to do a crew report. There we go, crew report. Let's go back. I saw a cool rock down there. Now we can process in the lab. We can turn this science into data and get 75 science time with 15 data, 74 days. I don't remember how to read that. But let's start research. Let's also start life support. And start converter? What does the converter do? I forget what the converter does. Let's see. I am not certain. But I think we got a lot more days of life support out of this because there's a recycler on the lab that actually extends our supply amount. Meanwhile, can I start habitat? And start converter. I don't really know what that did. Converter didn't really do anything, so I'm going to stop converter. If I stop the converter, what happens? Nothing. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'll have to read up on that. But anyway, we have habitat. We have 268 days of habitat time now. Burful Kerman is the only one who has less for some reason. Maybe because he hasn't gotten out. He can do an EVA report. Then board. Board. Yeah, I don't know why Burful Kerman doesn't want to be here as long as the others. I have no idea. But that's fine. So, oh, pardon me. So, we're going to do some science, but I think I'm going to skip through this because this is going to be very repetitive. I'm just going to time warp. And when we get over a new biome, we'll get out and do some science, but it's going to be a bit repetitive, so I'll be back. Okay, I did a bunch of science. We did some orbits, and the science lab is started up, so it's going to be processing data into science at a pretty slow rate right now. And we're waiting for the next vehicle to arrive here in the future, but for now, we need to do a Duna lander correction burn, so I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm going to extend this other antenna and see how our reception goes. Yeah, that helps with signal strength. We're at 60% signal strength. I'm congested. It's hard to talk. All right, let's warp to the maneuver. There's Duna. I found Duna. That never happens. That's our destination. It's just a little speck out there. Let's actually make sure that our maneuver is a good one. Now, we never really actually finished it, but that's okay. Let's just delete this maneuver node, and thankfully we have reception right now. It'd be a big problem if we did not. Okay. All right, that's pretty equatorial. And now let's point retrograde and see if that is the direction we want to point here. And I don't know what is a good approach. Okay, that was the wrong direction. But I don't know how low it should be. But this is the time to get it right. Can I turn down the thrust limiter anymore? Not really. I can turn it down there. Okay. That I think is too low. That's gonna burn us up in the atmosphere a little too fast. I think we want to enter at 5 or 10 kilometers. I really don't know. We need it to work, but we also need to not go screaming in at too high an angle. Gosh, it's just... I have no precision here. Stand by. I've got to flip over again. Eight will have to do. And I hope that that's enough. But we'll find out. All right. Hopefully we'll still have reception signal when we arrive. Here's the lander. This little lander. We're going to have to do the descent without signal though, because we have to retract these or we'll lose them in the air. Okay. Let's go to the next thing. All right, our Sarnus window is coming up. Whoa, thunderstorm. Our Sarnus window is coming up, and I actually hadn't noticed that. We've also got a Moho window in 12 days. It takes us about that long to build rockets. So, I actually need to reassess what it was that we were going to do. Because, we might have some serious, need of the VAB to actually get these probes built. So, what I'm gonna do is, consider spending all of our money on R&D, which I think we have to do. So we're not going to have much money left, but we're going to do it so that we can unlock better tech. So we're down to 500,000 funds again. Tech, it doesn't say when that'll be done. Research and development, there it is. 35 days. Yeesh. Well, anyway, so I was gonna launch this moon lander, but actually I need to switch. Those 5 days need to go towards building a Sarnus or Moho probe. So that's what I'm gonna do. But we will see that next time. Thank you very much for watching, and thanks for joining me. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.